Hari Om, Namaste. So, before we begin speaking or asking questions, let's focus on God for a while. We'll begin with the invocations. Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. Gajananam Bhutaganadi Sevitam Kapitha Jambu Phalacharu Bhakshanam Umasutam Shok Vinashakarakam Namami Vigneshwara Pada Pankajam Ya Kundendu Tushara Har Dhavala Ya Shubhra Vastravrita या वीणा वरदंड मंडित करा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकर प्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वंदिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेष जाड्यापहा। ओम श्री अनंत नारायण मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनो हरिः। All right. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Yoga Darshana. Today would be an introductory session to give you a brief idea about what are we going to deal with and how it may assist us on our human and spiritual journey. So, Yoga Darshana. What is Darshana? Why did I use the term Darshana for this course? Why not anything else? We all know, I assume by now, that what is yoga. So we've already discussed this quite a few times. Most of you have been part of the previous sessions with me. So can each one of you tell me, according to your present understanding of what yoga is? You can type in the chat box. What is yoga? Let's see how your definitions from the first time you came into touch with me, have they changed over the past few months? What is yoga? I do not want textbook definitions. I do not want descriptions from the social media. I would love to see what you have understood from a union with the Supreme. Yes, that's the obvious and the ultimate meaning of yoga. Anyone else? Anyone else has something different to share about yoga? Atma se, okay, the union of the soul with the body. Anything else? Remember, we have discussed so many concepts: Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Raja Yoga, and now we have bear yoga and goat yoga and dog yoga and so many things. So, what is common among all these concepts? Anything else? Okay, you can keep typing. I'll come back to your responses later. So, like we've already studied, yoga simply, the term yoga means union. It comes from the, yes, yoga is addition. It comes from the Sanskrit root yuj. Yuj means to yoke, like you yoke the bullocks to the bullock cart, like you yoke someone with something else, like you connect 2 points, like you combine two things together, like you join two things together. That is yuj. Okay, so that is known as yoga, right? You're combining. But what are you combining here? Now it depends on which context are you speaking about, on which area of life, emotional, physical, or spiritual, you are focused on, right? So it could be that kind of union. Now, yoga as a tradition, yoga as a practice is definitely about union with the Supreme, union with God, union of the individual with the cosmos, of the individual self or Atman with the cosmic self or Paramatman. That is yoga. If you talk about that in the context of bhakti, then it becomes the union of devotee with the God, right? In Jnana Marg, it becomes the union of the Atman and Paramatman. In Dhyana Yoga, it becomes the union of the individual with the cosmos. So the, the terminology slightly changes according to the spiritual philosophical context. That is yoga, right? I'm sure that no one has any doubts about this now. Now, why did I use the term Yoga Darshana? What do you understand by darshan? I think it's a very common term, right? We know sutra. We've discussed sutra. What is a sutra? Literally speaking, sutra is a thread. Okay, so yoga. Then we have Bhakti Sutra, Yoga Sutra, Vedanta Sutra. We have various other kinds of sutras. So sutra is a compendium or a compilation of the core tenets of a tradition of a philosophy, right? So they're joined. There is like pearls strung into a over a thread. So each sutra, each verse, each shloka, each mantra in itself can be expanded and commented upon, and it can be transformed into a huge book of philosophy. This is the power contained in a single sutra. So the collection of all those sutra is what we now in English call sutras. Although there is no Sanskrit or Hindi term like sutras, it is sutra. The plural of sutra is also sutra, right? Like in English, the plural of fish is also fish. The plural of deer is also deer, kind of like that. So it is sutra if you're speaking from a Sanskrit perspective. In English, it is sutras. So this is Yoga Sutra, the compilation of the yoga philosophy according to sage Patanjali. Okay, so we'll be focused on what is given by sage Patanjali. There have been various other texts on yoga, older and then later than the time of Patanjali. But Patanjali's text is considered to be the standard because nowhere before Patanjali it was so beautifully codified into neat verses. For example, Bhagavad Gita. Before the Bhagavad Gita, the entirety of the Indian philosophical system was not so beautifully compiled into those neat 700 shlokas, right? So similar is the case with Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So his compendium, his compilation is considered to be the standard among all yoga followers and practitioners. Now, when I said the course name is Yoga Darshana, so Darshana, as no one has guessed, or maybe you don't want to tell me, Darshana means vision. When you say I had darshan, right? You're having a sight or a vision. Like we say, we had the darshan of this great personality, or we had the darshan of the devata in the devasthanam, in the mandiram, right? So that's darshana. Now, in this context, we do not call Indian systems or Indian traditions or Indian schools as philosophy or philosophical. We call them darshana because philosophy can simply be mental gymnastics, right? It can only be about logic, critical reasoning. Here, darshana is you're seeing something as it is. And then you are describing it according to the rules of logic. So, first there is an experience, and then it is codified according to logic. So that is the difference between Indian so-called darshana and the philosophy or the Western philosophy. Okay, so that's the major difference. So that is why we specifically use the term darshana. We call it Yoga Darshana, Vedanta Darshana, Sankhya Darshana, Nyaya Darshana, right? Bhakti Darshana. Loosely, in the modern environment, we translate it to philosophy, but it is much more than philosophy. The sages were enlightened. They had the direct revelation of those truths. And then to make those truths comprehensible and easily understandable for the masses, they used logic, because they cannot give you illogical answer, because for them logic does not matter. It's like you're watching the sun rise. You do not have to prove that the sun has risen. You do not have to prove that, apply mathematical theorem that the sun is rising. It is rising. You have no need. But those who have never seen the sun rise, for those you have to give a logical deduction, a mathematical equation. That is why the systems came into being. Yoga Darshana being one of them, and being one of the oldest traditions. So, Yoga Darshana is one of the six orthodox or six traditional systems of Indian knowledge. Okay, they are called Astika Darshan. Astik means one who have faith. Faith in what? Faith in the authority of the Vedas. So the six traditional orthodox systems of Indian spirituality, they assign the highest value to the Vedas. Everything that anyone says, any sage, any enlightened person, even God comes down as an avatar and he says something, it has to align, it has to comply with the Vedas. Otherwise, it would be rejected. No if, no but, there is no excuse. That is known as Astik Darshan. So, in anything that we are studying now, which has become popular, the Bhagavad Gita, it is popular because it completely aligns with the Vedas. It completely complies with the Vedas. Otherwise, it would have been rejected. So, we as commoners, as laymen, we do not know the scrutiny these scriptures go through before they come to the public eye. We do not understand the importance, the amount of effort the saints, the sages, the enlightened men spend on bringing that knowledge to us. It is nothing as compared to what we can imagine our wildest fantasies. Okay, so Yoga Darshan is one of such esoteric, very well defined traditions. And although in the last 2 or so centuries, I would say 1.5 century, yoga has become a very common word, like karma, like maya. These have become, popular terminologies. But yoga used to be a very well kept hidden secret. It was not meant to be given that openly, that publicly, because they knew what will happen. And this is exactly what has happened now. What is yoga? You ask anyone, and they'll say this, or they'll contort themselves. That is not yoga. That is an aspect of yoga that in no way can define yoga. And as a matter of fact, a fun fact for all of you is, in the Yoga Sutras that we will study, we have around 295 or around 300 verses. And can you guess how many asanas has Patanjali described? Make a wild guess. How many asana? How many postures? Guess, just guess. Wild guess. There are no points for guessing. Quick, give me a number. 1, 2, 9, 70, 0. 0 asanas have been described. Asana simply means that you come and you sit, you place yourself in a place and you do not move. Because all your problems come because you cannot sit in one place quietly. Most of the problems of the world are because a person cannot sit in the quietude of his house in one room quietly without talking, without scrolling on the mobile, or without scheming and gossiping and all those things. So yoga, that is what an asana is. So you're practicing all this so that the body becomes quiet and it can sit in one place for a prolonged duration, and then the mind will also become quiet, because the mind and body, they are intertwined, they're connected. If the body moves, the mind will also move. If the mind moves, the body will also move, right? If you're eating and eating and eating, then you will feel lazy. The mind will not focus. And if you're overthinking and overthinking and overthinking, the body will also fall into a state of actionlessness, right? So these are both are connected. So once the body becomes stable, the mind is bound to be stable. And then they use the mediator, the breath. When you do pranayama, or what we know as breath work, breathing exercises, right? So you're controlling all these, and all of these become quiet. Naturally, your intelligence becomes active, totally active. It is fully available. And now you can focus on anything. You can create any scientific invention. You can create most beautiful works of art, or you can question the very reality of life. You can reach back to your source. So the purpose of yoga is this, to quieten you down so much so that you turn inward and you face yourself. And when you see yourself, you have the possibility of becoming one with the creator. That is yoga. Nothing exceptional about it. It's very simple, straightforward. So all these practices are to prepare you, to take you to the point where you're able to face yourself, because we are not facing ourselves. Right? What we are facing when we say, oh, I faced myself, you have no idea how hard my life has been. You are simply facing the circumstances, the experiences, the body. The body is not you. The mind and its drama, its emotions, its feelings, its thoughts, its complexities, these are not you. You, the real you, is watching all this drama. You have become so attached and enamored by this drama that you cannot separate these. So, yoga gives you that ability so that you can question your own drama. Right now, you're questioning the world's drama. The world is bad. My brother, my sister, my husband, my father, my wife, my partner, my associate, my colleague, they are bad. The society is bad. The traffic is bad. The government is bad. Everyone is bad. Capitalism is bad. Western civilization is bad. The influence of West on India is bad. All this. But you're not questioning your drama. So yoga gives you that ability to face your own drama and then to detach from the drama. And then you realize that you were never a part of the drama. You were never the part of this drama. This drama is what we know as samsara. Right? And when you realize that, then you are called a jivana mukta, buddha, an enlightened person. That is the difference between a layman and an enlightened person. The enlightened person might appear to be inside the drama, but he is not identified with the drama. He is not one with the drama. That is why he is unfazed, unaffected by the drama. While we are dying every day because of this incessant drama. You're not able to see the drama. We can see it, but only because others are doing it. I am good. There's nothing wrong with me. The other person is wrong. Everything else is wrong. I am good. The world is not fair. Nature is not fair. God is not fair. We reach to God. Anything happens, we go and grab the collar of God. You are not fair. I am always good. I don't know why these bad things are happening to me. So yoga gives you this honesty, that you're able to face your drama and be detached from it. That is yoga. Okay, the exercise, the athletics, the aerobics is a part of that. It is a preparation to reach yoga. It is not yoga. It can be called yoga asana because it is facilitating the state of yoga. All right. So this is Yoga Darshana. It is one of the most secret and well kept. Used to be secret. Now it is available to the public, and that's why everyone is having a field day with it. Everyone is creating their own versions of yoga. They're adding their name and then trademarking it. This is my yoga. The sages, those who brought yoga to people, they did not trademark it, they did not patent it, but we are patenting it because we're not realized. That is again another difference between a realized person and a person who's stuck with the drama of the world, because the greed is there, the fear, the insecurity is there, right? So that's what Yoga Darshan is. Now you have to see the sun rise for yourself, not believe in someone else saying that the sun has risen. Go out, look up at the sky, and see the sun of truth rising for you. That is yoga. Only then you will be called a yogi. Before that, you're only a bhogi and mostly a rogi because you're sick in the body as well as the mind. Face it, accept it. Do not be offended by it. Asserting your position. Yes, I am not correct. Something is not wrong. And then you will start making changes. Then you will honestly start digging for the truth. Right? Do not be afraid to face whatever you come across. Okay? So, a little about Patanjali. So, Patanjali is considered a Maharishi, a great sage. He was the seer of the mantras, and he is considered to be an incarnation of Adi Shesha, Sheshanaga. We all know Adi Shesha, right? We've seen the pictures of Vishnu. Let me share with all of you so that you will get the idea of what I'm speaking about. Is my screen visible? Yeah. So we've all seen similar images, right? The iconography is very popular. So this is Vishnu, and by his feet is Lakshmi. Do not jump about feminism right now. These are symbols. Understand. From his navel comes the lotus, and that lotus is seated our four-headed or Chaturmukhi Brahma. Now, this Brahma is the creative aspect for our universe, this current universe. There are many other Brahmas who have created their own universes, bigger, much more complex than our universe. So, this is our reality. Now, Vishnu is sleeping on the bed of the coils of a huge snake with many heads, many hooded snake. So we call him Sahasra, Shirsha, or many things. Sahasra simply means thousand, and it also is used to denote something which is innumerable, which cannot be counted, which is too many, right? So he has infinite heads. Ananta, there is no end to it, right? So this is the Ananta Shesha. So Patanjali was the incarnation of the Ananta Shesha. Okay. So his mother, Gaunika, again was a great yogini. She was a yogini, and she prayed for a son as brilliant as God. And hence, when she was bathing in the river and doing, the tarpana, or she was giving argha to sun, something fell from the skies onto her Anjali. This is called Anjali. And that was a small snake. Like half the upper body was of a human, and the rest of the body, the below the trunk, was of a snake. And that was Patanjali. That is how Patanjali was born. Okay. Now, Patanjali not only gave us yoga, he also gave not this. There was no yoga before him. His mother was a yogini, so he codified yoga. He also commented on the Ashtadhyayi of Panini. Have you heard of Panini? Does the name ring a bell? Panini's Vyakarana. Yeah, Panini. So he was a grammarian, the first grammarian of Sanskrit. Before him, it was Vedic Sanskrit, and Vedic Sanskrit is revealed knowledge, right? So it is not that humans constructed Sanskrit. It was revealed. It's called Deva Bhasha. So Panini was the first one to codify it, and then he wrote his huge compilation or the codification known as grammar. That was the first. Even now, modern linguistics, they consider Panini Vyakaran to be the first codified Vyakaran, grammar of any language. And Patanjali also commented on that. So he gave us the Mahabhashya, or the great commentary on Panini's Vyakaran. And then he also wrote something which is now known as Patanjali Tantra. So it was about Ayurveda, related to medicine and surgery. Even now, many yogic texts, many texts of the Ayurveda, they refer to certain sections, they refer back to Patanjali. So his knowledge was not only confined to the yoga, it was Ayurveda, yoga, as well as Sanskrit Vyakaran. Because without Vyakaran, you cannot learn Sanskrit. And without Sanskrit, you cannot properly learn the scriptures, right? Or you need someone who has learned Sanskrit to explain to you what exactly the Sanskrit scriptures means. Otherwise, you what do you get? Beer yoga, goat yoga, club yoga, bar yoga, right? This is what you get. So Vyakaran is very important because you're uttering, there has to be respect for the language. It is not a human language. It is a gift, right? So you respect it. You do not abuse with the same tongue that is used to utter the mantras. Such is the respect, right? We pray to Vag Devi, Saraswati. When she sits on our tongue, then we're able to chant the mantras properly. So we have to learn the grammar. We have to learn the way to roll your tongue, how to, the phonology, how to pronounce correctly. Okay, these are all the parts, these are important parts of learning Vedas or any Vedic scripture. So he delved into all those. So you have health, physical health as well, mental health as well, and then you have the proper knowledge of language, and then you're ready to do your study and then become a yogi. So that is why Patanjali was no small deal. All right, so that is Patanjali. So we have to thank Patanjali, or we have to thank Adi Shesha to have incarnated as Patanjali, because no one else but he himself could have given us this knowledge. Like Vedavyasa, we call him Bhagavan Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa is considered to be a part incarnation of Vishnu himself, because no who else but God can tell about God. So he comes as someone to give us his knowledge, because we do not know how to properly ascertain what God is or who God is or who we are. We do not even know who we are. We have to depend on the rishis to understand, to begin the inquiry, right? And if you have not taken the help of any rishi right now, it means you are a rishi. But the chances for that are very, very small. Okay? Because exceptional purity of character, exceptional discipline, and which now seems, extreme, is needed to be called a rishi. It is no small task. Okay. All right. So, in fact, I was actually listening to a popular, not a popular, but a very, very well read saint. And he said that his guru used to tell him that there are many rishis, present in the subtle bodies, who are ready to take birth on earth, because they're seeing the condition, the plight of humans. They're seeing the incessant prayers for redemption, for salvation, but they're not able to find the right family, the right womb, the right parents to incarnate. There is no purity, there is no discipline, there is no Shraddha. So this is the condition of Kali Yuga. That is why we have very few rishis. We have sadhus, we have saints, no longer rishis. It's very rare, right? So Patanjali was one such rishi. All right, so this is a brief introduction about what is yoga, what is Yoga Darshana, what are the Yoga Sutras, and who composed the Yoga Sutras. Now, I think in the brochure, we mentioned that there are 4 parts or 4 pada, right? 4 steps, 4 limbs of this entire text. The first one is called Samadhi Pada. So he begins with describing Samadhi, or the goal of yoga, right? This is a style in Indian scripture. First, you describe the goal, right? Because if you want to, like, if you joined this course, you should know what is the goal. Otherwise, why would you join? What's there? What's in there for me? So the first chapter of, let's say, the first part or the first book of the sutra describes samadhi. What is the goal of yoga, right? Then what do we have? We have so you'll understand what is yoga, the definition of yoga, everything, and then you go on to describe the sadhana, how to reach the samadhi, what is the means necessary, what materials are needed, what all is your, what part of the body is needed, what part of the mind is needed, how to train the body, how to train the mind, and how to do your daily practice or sadhana to reach the goal as described in the samadhi pada. And then we have vibhuti pada. Vibhuti means uh, the siddhis or the extraordinary powers that you get when you become truly disciplined, when you're truly regularly following the practices, right? He describes these things that we hear about, right? Flying, lifting yourself up and like flying through the sky and becoming, disappearing and then appearing again, or appearing at many places simultaneously. All these things which seems very, uh, seems like hogwash to us, which seems like it's all made up. These are described, how they come to you. And then he also warns us that if you, being a serious yogi, get stuck in these achievements, you will not reach the goal of yoga. Because then you'll create a circus, you'll create a new drama. Look, I have become a great yogi, these are my powers. What are you showing the powers to? Who are you showing it to? What are you doing it for? So you have to avoid getting stuck into these powers and then keep going ahead till you reach yoga, till you find God. Do not stop before that, right? So this is in the Vibhuti Pada. And then there is Kaivalya Pada. Kaival means alone, single, only. So Kaivalya means when only one thing remains. What is that thing? Truth. So the finally he says, so we're moving towards now. This is called somewhat like sannyasa. When you're done with the world, you've seen everything, you've achieved the greatest, you've understood the reality. Now you become alone. Alone with what? You become one with the truth, and truth is alone. It does not need company, right? So that is Kaivalya Pad. So we're gradually moving from one chapter or one part to another. So this would be the basic structure of the Yoga Sutra. All right. So I'll share you the details of the invocations that we will follow uh, daily. Okay, just go through them, go through the translation so that you understand what are the mantras that I'm chanting and why am I chanting, right? So if you say someone noticed that I began with the Ganapati Vandana, Gajananam, because it is our tradition. So there's a very peculiar thing. If you paid notice, if someone knows Sanskrit or a little bit or knows, about the language, Gajananam Bhut Ganadi Sevitam Kapitha Jambu Phalacharu Bhakshanam Umasatam Shoka Vinashakaram Namami Vigneshwara. We call him Vigneshwara. Vigna means obstruction, right? Vigna. We are calling him Vigneshwara, not the remover of obstacles. We're calling him the god of obstacles. Why is it that? It cannot be a mistake in a popular and so often used mantra. Ganesha, in fact, originally is the god of obstacles. Bhoot Ganadi Sevitam. All the ganas, all the hordes or the crowds of his followers are generally those who create obstacles and he leads them. So if you pray to Ganesha, he'll make sure that none of these disturbing elements obstruct your sadhana. So he is actually the Lord of all Vigna. So only he can ensure that you get no Vigna in your sadhana or in your study when we write like Ganeshaya Namaha. In the wedding cards, we have Ganesha because we're so afraid the wedding might not go as we planned, right? So he's the Lord of Vigna. He's Vignesha, Vigneshwara. Okay? So I'll give you the translation. It will be shared with by my team with you later. Then we obviously paid obeisances to Saraswati. Yeah, he can give you obstacles which make you see the correct path. Yes, of course. Ultimately, all the obstacles are because of your own karma. And all the obstacles from God's perspective are pushing you towards the right path. Right? What I was talking from was a mythological perspective. This is like a philosophical perspective to it. Okay? So then we prayed to Saraswati because she is the goddess of what? What is Saraswati the goddess of? Can anyone tell me? Why do we pray to Saraswati? Quickly, I mean, this should be known to everyone. Vani, wisdom, anything else? Knowledge, Vidya, anything else? Peacock, swans, lotus, anything else. You can tell anything that you've learned or listened to or seen the iconographies of. Principally speaking, from the original Vedic perspective, Saraswati is the goddess of inspiration. Because without inspiration, all these are not possible. She inspires you. She moves your intellect in the right direction. Right? Without inspiration, the tongue will not waggle. Speech will not be produced. And even if it is produced, it will not travel correctly. Communication will not have happened properly. So she is principally, primarily the goddess of inspiration. She inspires you. She creates the desire for knowledge, and then she gives you the willpower to attain the knowledge. Okay? So Saraswati, as we know now, is a composite of three Vedic deities, Ila, Manu, and Bharati. Okay? Ila is the first goddess. In fact, the Rig Veda begins in the Agni Sukta, Om Agnim Ile Purohitam, Agnim Ile Purohitam. Right? So it's inspiring, Ila. So Ila, Manu, and Bharati, they combined. And then there was Vagdevi, Vak, the goddess of speech. All of them were merged together to give us the now popular Saraswati. Okay? So she is primarily the goddess of inspiration. Without inspiration, you will not even sit in one place. You will not even make, when we say sankalpa, no sankalpa will arise in you. So she is that. So that is why she is also worshipped in the beginning. Now what we did was we chanted a very popular mantra, popular, mostly known to us from the movies and in the wedding seasons during the Saptapadi or the pheras around the fire. Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu. Now why Vishnu? Because Adi Shesha, who is his Ishta Devata? Who is he supporting? Right? So Shesha is supporting Vishnu. So we have to invoke the blessings of Vishnu. And then we'll go on to chant a mantra to remember Patanjali. Because he is our Guru. He is the one who gave us this knowledge that we're trying to understand. Okay, so this would be the sequence of the invocations. I'll share with you the Sanskrit, the English translation, everything. Okay. All right. So, does anyone have any question as of now? Anything that might have conjured up during this time that I started blabbering, or any concepts that you held in your mind before you joined the course? If you have any questions, the beginning questions, let's get them done with. Do we have a picture or a depiction of Patanjali? Yes, we have one. I have not downloaded it now, but I can share with you. It is simply like he's holding two hands together, or he's holding something in his hand, either a pot of medicine or something like that. And then the two hands were the same of Narayana Vishnu, right? The conch and this thing. And then the rest of his body is of the serpent. You've seen these especially in the southern part of India. It is very popular, right? Now it has come, the Naga Devatas and all those, they have this Patanjali and the Shesha Murtis as well. I'll share with you. Kind of like Dhanvantari. Dhanvantari is particularly for Ayurveda. Okay? But Patanjali is much more than that, right? Dhanvantari is a part incarnation of Vishnu, while Patanjali is an incarnation of Adishesha. That's the difference. They look similar because they come from the same tattva, right? This is how you see similarity or similar patterns. You will understand what they are coming from, which tradition, which parampara, which kula, right? So how do we know Kram is obstacle? Jai Shri Ji has asked. Could you please tell me what exactly do you mean by this question? How do we know Krama is obstacle, or did you mean karma is obstacle? Like, can you further elucidate the question? Could you repeat the origin of Patanjali? Yeah, the origin of Patanjali, like I said, there was a great yogini by the name of Gaunika. Okay, and she prayed to God for a son as brilliant as God. So she was doing arghya, giving arghya to sun while taking a bath in the river, and a little serpent kind of thing fell into her hands, into her cupped hands. That's how he was born. Okay. Pata Anjali. He fell into her Anjali. This is Anjali. And then there are other meanings to his name as well. Because he was a great yogi, he only used to eat once in a day. This is what yogis do. They eat once. They do not keep chewing like cows and buffaloes like we do, snacking all the time. Because that is why we are yogis and bhogis. A yogi only eats once. And that was like, and that too, the fallen leaves, the leaves that have fallen from the tree, he does not even hurt the tree by plucking the flower or leaf. The leaves that have fallen, he would collect them, sweep them in his Anjali, and then consume it. That was his diet. That is why Patanjali. Whatever part, whatever pattas, whatever leaves have come to his Anjali, he'll eat that once in a day and drink a little water. That is all. Because he was the incarnation, he was already established in yoga, he could do that. Great yogis do it even now. Not us. We can, that's what I said, we can survive with the diet, but we have to slowly move towards that. Right now, you have come to believe, or you have been conditioned or trained, fed like keep eating without that alone. And then you have these concepts in your mind. If I do not, let's say, even if you have to fast for one day, your body starts shaking at the end of the day, right? Although there's nothing wrong, but the psychological thing has started churning your mind. I am feeling weak. Okay, I lose my muscle mass, and all that things come. Ask people about fast. I have a headache. My blood pressure will rise. All the diseases. I have cancer and AIDS, and everything will come on that day itself. This is a psychological thing. This is how we have been conditioned. So such people cannot imagine of living on such diet. But if you are a yogi, if you're being regular, and mind you, you'll have to face difficulties. It will not be easy to begin with. But if you remain, like we say, like we are stubborn. We are stubborn about so many things. How dare you disrespect me? How dare you do not call me with my proper full name? If we use that kind of indignation and that kind of stubbornness in our spiritual sadhana, we can also survive on that diet. But we do not do that because we are used to comfort. We think comfort is good, comfort is pleasure, and anything that is not pleasurable should not be done. Because we have not understood what is dharma. Dharma is not following pleasure, running after pleasure. Right? So the more we live in comfort, the weaker we become. That is all. The more coddled, cocooned, comforted you are by the words of praise, by words of respect You are far from being a yogi. No saint, no sadhu is greedy about respect. So the first poison that we consume on a daily basis is respect. Bow down to me, call me good names. Oh, I feel so respected. God is so kind to me because I am respected in society. This is your first poison. Respect, this obsession with respect and honor. Yes, you as an individual, as a sadhaka, you should be respectful towards everyone, but you should not in the least even imagine of getting respect in return. This expectation of return, return of honor and respect is the biggest obstacle to that will not even allow you to begin the spiritual sadhana. Okay? What praise? Your body is alone by nature. Your mind is alone by nature. The intelligence with which you are questioning all this is alone by nature. So what are you getting respect for? It is nature's respect. And then okay, what about myself, my Atma? It is God's. So where are you in this whole picture? Nowhere. So whose is the respect? The respect is only for God. Understand that. Now, do not go around and start lecturing others. You should respect God. No, do start from yours. Stop expecting respect, and half of the troubles will go. Half the time your mind is restless and troubled. I was not respected. I will not go to that home again. I was not respected. It's good. Avoid places where energy is wasted, but do not live in this expectation. We see this in elders or people in high positions. I am a teacher. I should be respected like that. You are my son, you are my daughter, you should respect me. Why I should? Yes, if it's good if they do it, it's good for them. It is good for their spiritual evolution. But why are you dying with the hopes of respect? Every day you're sitting and and you're boiling within. I was not respected properly today. This is the source of most conflicts. Respect. Okay? We've talked about this a little bit in the previous courses as well. We'll go into this deeply, very properly. I'll be very blunt. I'm planning to offend every one of you, each one of you, correctly, because this is the biggest hurdle. Kiski respect? Whose respect are you so after? Respected, respected, respected. This is the biggest egoistic hurdle. You're decorating your ego every day. You're actually worshipping your ego. And then you say, I am a great devotee. Why is not God helping you? You're a great devotee, but you're devoted to your ego. You're embellishing your ego. You're not worried about the self. You're not in the least bothered about God. Okay, so this is it. So when we can do that, then any diet will supplicate you, anything will nourish you, the whole nature will help you. Let nature help you and stop taking the credit for nature. Right? The body is made by nature, nature can take care of the body. The body has its intelligence. Okay, that is what yoga is for, to quieten down the mind, to quieten down the ego, so that the body can do what it's meant to do. It will remain healthy, it will be happy. Okay, so that's why we have the yama niyama. That is the part of Ashtanga yoga. Let me describe it in more detail. Let me answer this question first. The idea is to make silent. Everything has to be silent. When you want to study, when you want to learn something, like in a class, and if everyone is making noise, right? Everyone is throwing paper rockets and chalks, and the teacher is also fighting and shouting. Who will learn and who will teach? Right? So that's why you need silence. Shanti, we do, right? Shanti, 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 from all levels. Without Shanti, the knowledge will not come. Without Shanti, the knowledge will not be processed. Without Shanti, that processed knowledge will not be digested. And without digesting that knowledge, you will not understand what is happening. You'll only understand the meaning of the words, and you'll talk about it in parties and think, oh, I'm such a good person. That will happen. So you need Shanti. So we are reaching Shanti because Shanti is your true state. Right? So we're taking you to your true state. The more there is a noise and confusion in the mind, the less you are able to meditate upon the self. The less is the noise in the mind, the more you are able to concentrate on the self. Right? Imagine the tragedy. You do not know who you are. What could be the bigger tragedy for us? We do not know who we are, and we are stuck in what we are not. Rubbing and rubbing the skin. It should shine. Adding gold and diamonds and silks and the finest fineries of all kind, it should shine. But it is not you, Baba. You are not worried about who you are, right? It should grow. Let me take protein supplement and then vitamin supplement and that supplement and then the snail mucin and that and everything should come. It should glow. It should be big. It should shine. Everyone should say, "Oh yes, bow down to the God incarnate." You see the trap of ego, and you've forgotten the silent self within you, who's asking for your attention since many lifetimes. This is what is intended by yoga, so that you focus on the real and not on the unreal. Right? Currently, we're bothered about a dream. We're trying to fix the dream, fixing the details of the dream. We're not bothered about who's the dreamer. Who is this dream happening to? When you start questioning that, then you're called a sadhaka. Okay? Yes, without quieting down the mind, you can't even begin properly. Yes? Okay, so there was a question, how do we identify that we did something wrong and it's coming as obstacle? The first thing I would humbly request you is to consider this. Why do you need to identify if something has come to you from your bad or good karma? Look at the situation at hand objectively. It does not matter if it has come through your bad karma, good karma, someone else's karma. It does not matter. Look at the things and then find a solution. Because if you're trying to find the source of that problem, then this is known as a problem mindset. Then you're not solution oriented, right? So first of all, yes, the scriptures will answer you because similar questions have been asked by many disciples, many seekers to saints and sages, and they have given some answer. But the answer will never totally satisfy you unless you become practicing, when you start practicing. Okay? So we cannot, it's not easy for us to identify the exact cause of our present condition. In the Bhagavad Gita, like I repeat this again and again, it's a part of a shloka. Krishna says, Gahana karmano gati. Karmanasya gati. The gati, the way karma moves, the way karma transpires, it is very gahana. It is complicated, it is complex. Even great enlightened men cannot exactly tell you. Okay? So let's not go into that. Because if something very horrible happens to us, let's say, then we'll be bound to think that what did I do to deserve this? And then this creates a victim mindset. And then you start shaming yourself, putting yourself in a guilt trip. So you neither are able to go beyond the circumstance or to find a solution towards it, right? So that kind of thought is not helping you anywhere. So the thing is, understand that there is a way out of all this drama and start walking on the way. All these things will start making sense as you walk. And the thing is, when you're like a beginner in the spiritual path, these thoughts will keep coming. Now, this is up to you how you keep avoiding these. Let's not go into that, because even if you find it, it will not help you. It will not help you. The mind is playing a trick on you, making you believe that if you find the answer to this question, then you will be at peace. You will not be at peace. Otherwise, God would have already told you. Otherwise, you would have remembered your past lives. Understand, there's a reason you do not have the memory of your other incarnations or your other janma. There's a reason. You will not be able to bear the trauma. We can hardly bear the trauma of our childbirth. right? That is why you forget the memory of when you were born, right? You were crying, you were scared inside, it was dark. Don't romanticize it like you were safe in the mother's womb and she was feeding you, you were happy. No, none of that was, that is all modern day romanticism. You were scared, you were alone, you were dark. In many Puranas, in the Garuda Purana, in the Skanda Purana, it is mentioned when the Jiva was inside his mother's womb, he prayed and prayed and prayed to God. Please help me this one time, and then I will always remember you and not give you a chance so that I am born again into a womb. And as soon as we are born, we forget this promise. Right? In the Mohamudgar, or the popularly known term, Bhaja Govindam, Adi Shankaracharya's final poem, he says, right? Punarapi jananam, punarapi mananam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, ihi sansare bahudussare, kripaya pare pahi murare. So he says, punarapi jananam, again you will be born. Punarapi maranam, you will die again. Punarapi janani jathare shayanam, and again you will sleep in the womb of a mother. Any mother, a dog mother, a cow mother, a bat, a rat, a cat. This has been going on since times immemorial. This world is extremely frightening. Kripaya pare pahe murare. Please take pity on me, O Murari, and take me out of this drama. This is what Shankaracharya is praying for all of us and suggesting us to remember. Okay? So there is no point of understanding where it began. Right? For example, let's say you had a nightmare. Now, do you remember exactly when the nightmare happened and what did you do to deserve to be watching that nightmare? You cannot. So think of this world as this nightmare. Okay? I'm not trying to sound very dark, negative here, but kind of like that. There is no point. Okay? That's why we call the time is cyclical in nature. Time is not linear, it is cyclical. That is why the yugas come and go in, regular progression. Satyuga or Krita Yuga, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. It is going like this. That is why we make the clocks circular. Clocks do not go like this. Right? Understand. The dream is also cyclical. There is no beginning point of the circle. Every point on the circle is the beginning point. And every point, good news for you, can be the end. That end is known as mukti. Okay? This is the cycle of karma, and you can break that. And that is why we're discussing all these. These are the ways or methods how you can break this cycle. You've fallen into a nightmare, you can escape from the trap. And these are the various methodologies you can employ. That's it. This question, how do we identify what exactly is that? This is coming from an emotional aspect of your mind. Understand that. And if you do not transcend these emotions, they will keep you trapped. No matter how rational you think you are, how scientific nowadays science is the big thing. No matter how rational, logical, scientific you are, this emotional part of your existence will keep you trapped. This is the trick of the mind, to keep producing doubts, to keep creating doubts. There will be no perfect answer for anyone, for anything, for any question. Through yoga, through the practice of any spiritual sadhana, what you'll do is the frequency of the questions will reduce. Then the intensity of the questions will reduce. Then the number of questions will reduce. And then one day the question along, when itself, it will be disappear. That's it. The question itself is an illusion. Okay? This question, this word coming from me, it is all an illusion. So a yogi, when you reach samadhi, it all stops making sense. Right? Are you bothered about that horrible nightmare you had at age 11? where you might have peed yourself. Do you remember that? Are you still indignant about that? No. All your worries, all your concerns, all your obsession with this dream is only till you are in the dream. Only till you believe that you are one person in the dream. When you reach Samadhi, you wake up. When you wake up, the dream also ends for you. That's it. No question. All the questions, all the answers are inside the dream. Okay? So when you wake up from this dream, nothing will make sense and you will be free. This trying to make sense is burden, right? This is what reality is kind of like, right? So now you might have been satisfied with the answer a little bit. And again, you'll think from another angle and then you will be dissatisfied again. And then you'll have another question. And this question will not end. You will end, but the question won't. And with the remaining question, you will take another birth. Instead of focusing on the sadhana to transcend, you will take another birth because you're not satisfied with the answer. This is what we're seeking, satisfaction. We're seeking satisfaction inside a dream. Imagine. You're seeking, you're trying to know about the dreamer inside the dream. You can know about the dreamer when you wake up. And that is what the scriptures are giving you the tools for. Okay, so focus on the sadhana, focus on the tools, and we'll try to answer as much as we can. Okay, although there will be no perfect or no total answer for everything, it is simply not possible. Okay, the more intelligent you are, the more questions you will ask, the more doubts you will create for yourself, the more illusions you will become entangled with. Okay, so that is why we're trying to silence the mind, this doubt producing factory which never stops. All right, so that is a brief introduction about what we're going to do, what we're trying to, what's our intention with studying the Yoga Darshana. So we'll begin tomorrow with the Samadhi Pada. Okay. Mind is yeah, you can see again. You're trying to find out the culprit. You are the culprit. Why are you identified with the mind? The mind did not come and stick to you. It's like you wearing a shirt and then you're blaming. So this shirt is to be blamed because I look blue. The blue shirt is not to be blamed. You, the wearer of the shirt, is to be blamed. And ultimately, this blame is also a label. No one is to be blamed. Not you, not God. For general, because people want a definite answer, so the scriptures gave an answer. Maya, you can blame Maya. But even Maya cannot be blamed. We'll go through that. Okay? Maya is worshipped. Jnaninam api chetansi devi bhagavati hisa balada krishya mohaya mahamaya prayachati. In the Markandeya Puran, in the Devi Bhagavatam, in the Durga Saptashati, this is one of the first mantras that we chant. Jnaninam api chetansi. The chitta of even the most intelligent and profound minds. Devi Bhagavati Hisa Balada Krishya Mahai, who forcibly attracts their mind to such great Maya, we bow down. We're not blaming Maya there. Okay? We'll understand this. Okay? Because right now, how to say, there's a lot of misconception, we've created a patchwork of ideas. And based on that patchwork, we're judging reality. Okay? So let's not find out the culprit. Let's focus on how to, let's not find out who has thrown you into a prison with a lion. Try to find a way out of the prison because the lion might devour you. Right? There's no point of finding out who the culprit is. The first thing is you have to escape the prison. And that is what we're doing. Okay? So keep observing your mind. Keep observing your mind. Understand the tricks of the mind. And then you'll transcend the mind. That's it. It's very simple. All right. So we'll close for today. And I'll see you all tomorrow. We'll do a little Shanti Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone. Hari Om.